So
Oh, broadcast is live.
we are live, and I am Motorbike Mike with ConnorFXDB, and he is in a van. And where exactly is the van?
Down by the river.
Down by the river. No, but in all seriousness, where are you this weekend?
Actually, I wonder if I can. No, I can't. I wonder if I can rotate it. I'm here at COTA, the Circuit of the Americas, the Formula One racetrack that you have MotoGP bikes come out here. You have NASCAR just did one this last summer, which was pretty dope. So I'm out here for the weekend to do some track days on my
So,
Harley.
on your Harley. Yeah, so let's talk about your Harley because a lot of people, when you think track days, they're all out there with, sport bikes like your Ducatis,
Uh huh.
your Yamahas. What bike are you currently using at the track?
I'm doing a 2019 FXR lowrider. I mean, it's been kind of modified enough to not really be a lowrider. The chassis itself is still a lowrider, but it has Fat Bob tins, has YZF R6 calipers with a touring front end, with a Dyna axle, with FXDLS tubes, and I think that's it.
Okay. So works out for you. I know for a while you were only running one rotor in the front, and now you're back to the dual.
Well, because the lowrider, the new Softail lowriders only came with one, so I was like,
Okay.
and I couldn't afford to do the conversion. And then I got the idea to try to do a touring lower, and they worked because the touring lowers on eBay, they're like $100 all day. You can find hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. And with the Dyna lowers, they're like 500. It's like, why is there such a difference between the two? I mean, like the look is different, but I decided to try it and it worked. And I was like, hell yeah, I saved so much money. But then that money went right back to getting the dual disc, like the rotor itself, the caliper mount, the extra caliper, the brake line. So I was like, the master cylinder.
Which none of this is cheap. So I take.
No.
So luckily you got a sponsor.
Yeah, well, a lot of the stuff is eBay.
Okay.
Like I found a lot of like the touring lowers were eBay. The Dyna axle was full price from Harley because no one else. I didn't know where to find one online. And then the master cylinders off of Touring. I think it's actually off of Dyna. And then Lindell's been a huge partner and sponsor. They supported us with our riding and our track day. So I always like to kind of give them a shout out. And it's just been dope. Just that they're kind of helping you get the awareness for tracking your Harley in Central Texas, because West Coast, you got all those crushers, dude. They're just crushing canyons like literally every day. So they're just very aggressive, very accelerated in their ride. And then here in Central Texas, it's like a lot more people are kind of cruising, with a couple of us kind of more of the performance, I'll say bagger,
Performance bagger.
cruiser oriented. And so it's kind of interesting because the goal is to get enough people to want to do a track day that we can rent a whole track day out and then do cruisers only. And that way you have like your A group, which is your super fast guys, or your B group, and which is like your slower guys. And then, and I think that'd be cool. But in order to do that, because the track itself is, I think, $6,000 to rent it. And I think that includes medical, that includes a couple other things for a single day, non-weekend. And so I don't want to rent it and then it'd be like so many people, because it'd be cool to kind of get people to cover it. Like where if say we get all the admissions going, I'm going on a rant, but we'll kind of taper it off here. Where it say $6,000 and then people have to pay like $250, we have to get like, I don't know, 30 people. And so are we really going to get 30 people to sign up for a track day in Central Texas? Probably not. So it'd be cool if we can get like some sponsors to come out where they can cover like $2,000 a piece. They're marquee sponsors, some mom and pop shops to put their name, and then that way anything that we can charge like 150 for a track day will go towards buying some suits that we can start to rent out for a future event, kind of give back to the people who come out like with food, like everything's paid for, and then just maybe giveaway and stuff like that. So that's the goal down the line. But for now, we're just kind of continue to do track days and just push Texas track days, then no breaks, and then just overall inviting people to come track your Harley.
Yeah, how did you get into that? Because that's not like something that you see normally people do, tracking a Harley, because they're heavy, they're not light.
Yeah.
So
Well, because I know the guys on the West Coast have been doing it for a while, and I kind of was aware of that, but I didn't have a passion for it until there was a local guy, Wes, who I saw a couple photos of him on Instagram with like the Circuit of the Americas tower in the background. It just looks so sick. And I said, I'm going to do a track day on my Harley. Like I'm going to do one. And then it just kind of started. I signed up for it in July. It seemed like it took forever to get to September. That was the day of my first track day. And I did it, and it was just like so different, and I learned so much from it that a lot of it transfers from, at least with the Ride Smart school that I do it with, track days with, that it's more of a school, but you can still race amongst yourselves. Like, oh, I'm gonna lap this guy or pass him because he passed me, but it's not really competitive, like where it's sanctioned. You're not gonna get a trophy. So
Okay.
that's what I like, because I'm progressing my skills and getting better. And then I really like the group that is here. So that's how I kind of got started. I saw someone said I want to do it, and then I just kind of dove in, and I really like what it gave me. And I always try to tell people, like, hey, if you can just do one, just do one. And you may not like it at all, and you may just fall in love with it. And
So
then
could I track my Iron 1200 on it?
hell yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like literally anything you can bring out, because there's nothing crazy about like elevation changes where, like in California, you have like some off camber turns or negative camber where, or even if it's a positive camber up, like a positive off camber where you're going to scrape because you're leaning. And so you have like the ground that comes up. So even though you're in a turn and your bike's coming, since you have the positive, I don't even know what my terminology is, there's a hill and you're going to scrape. So that's kind of like, in that sense, you would want to lift your bike up a little bit. It's not necessary, because then you see like all the guys just really hanging off. Just that way, your bike is still kind of like your center of gravity has now shifted. Instead of your bike going over, you're still kind of pulling your bike in I guess like that direction, since your weight's off in that direction. So the bike's just going to naturally go towards it. There's a lot of cool stuff. Like Twist of the Wrist was a book I read, and it was just like,
See, it scares me. I'm feeling like I'm gonna like slide my bike. Like I'm just gonna drop it and slide with it.
yeah, there's always that possibility. But like with the school that I do it, they have level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 1's like you've never done a track day or you're still beginner, and you go at your own pace. I mean, on a Harley, you tend to get past more, but mostly in the straights. And that's what I was really curious about. I was like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to keep up on my Harley. And I've been riding for about 5 years, and I've only recently started riding more aggressively the last year and a half. So I'm still very new to it. I did the track day, and everyone's like zooming by me in the straights, and all of a sudden it comes to the turns, and I'm passing them, and I'm not even going that fast, where I'm still comfortable, still working on what I want to do. And then there comes the straights, and just start just gunning it, and it was interesting, because you would think that like, oh, I'm gonna get past, and then the first couple of times you're like, it feels a little bit nerve wracking. You may have some anxiety hearing the bike go by. You're kind of like, man, I don't want to be holding up traffic, but at the same time, everyone's there to learn. And I had an instructor tell me one time that he was like, because I told him, I was like, man, I don't want to be holding everyone up. He goes, if they're better than you, they should be able to pass you without an issue. If they can't pass you, then hold up traffic all day long. They'll eventually learn to do it. I was like, oh, okay, cool, that works for me.
Well, see, that's how I felt when I took like Lime Creek Road. So that moto vlog meetup, I don't know, I think it was June.
Uh-huh.
I took it, Matt took it, and my buddy Andy. We all went. Everybody else like went home on Sunday.
Uh-huh.
So I took it for the first time. That was, to me, that was like the first challenging road I've ever been on, because you're going down and you think it's just going to be it goes back up in elevation. And of course, that section of the road they tore up on that one turn. And I didn't know that. So yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's cool. The first time I rode that, because I have a video and I always like to watch every now and then because it's super funny to see, is I was so frightened. Like, I was scared for my life going down that road the first time, because I was going the speed limit, and I could have sworn I was going 120 miles an hour. And then like a while back, maybe like a month ago, someone brought it up because we were doing like the headsets, and someone was like, dude, we're going like 65, 70 on this road. And I go, what? Because it felt like 30. And I looked down, like, oh, sure enough. And it was just mind-blowing, the fact that we had come so, but at the same time, we ride that road all the time. And we tell people that if they're riding, I always try to do like a relaxed ride here and there, but sometimes I just hit a turn just right, and like, ooh, that felt good. And so I just start going a little bit faster. I always tell people, just ride your ride. It comes to a T at the end. We'll be waiting there. And every so often, a couple people will fail to take that advice, and they try to keep up, and then they kind of panic and sometimes just go into the dirt. Thankfully, no one's gotten seriously hurt, but their bikes are taking up like a ding here and there. But it's not that we push it, but at the same time, it's like when you ride with other people outside your level and you feel like you need to keep up. That's kind of like, and that's why I like the track days, that you can really transfer the the knowledge that they give you of like there's certain obstacles that come into play with the street versus track, and there's a lot of things I like.
Yeah, when I was on Lime Creek, I could tell a lot of people scraped peg or something because there was one section of the road you just saw all the divots in it. Were just people grinding.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fun, and it was kind of cool because when we got finished, we went back to is it pronounced Coco's, the gas station?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like I just walked through. I was like, "Do you like motorcycles? Like, subscribe to my YouTube channel." It was like a bunch of like guys in like adventure bikes, and there was a couple guys with Groms, and they're like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." But it's just amazing how many people know that spot. And I've lived here 3 years. I was originally from the Northeast. I'd never heard of this until you mentioned it. I don't know, in April when we were talking about where we should all meet up. I never heard of Lime Creek Road. And like when I Googled it and I looked at YouTube, you're the only video that really showed up first. And then you start going down to like people in Porsches and WRXs that ride that road. But you're the only like real motorcyclist that shows up for the first like 2 search results in YouTube and the algorithm.
Yeah. That's dope. So are you over in Houston?
No, actually, I'm up by Temple.
Oh, really? Like by Killeen area?
Yeah, so it's only like an hour drive. So for me, I was like, I knew where we were going. I was like, I go to that Costco every 2 weeks over at Cedar Park, and I pass that Hyatt every time I go home. It sucks that they're tearing up that road to put in that tollway right now.
Yeah.
But I get it. It's just as long as they don't tear up Lime Creek Road or they make it better, it'd be cool. Start charging us to use it.
That'd be kind of cool. Like it would suck, but it's like as long as they upkeep with it.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, and like I didn't know it went to a T. Like you said, you meet up at the T, and I think it was like a restaurant or like a resort or something when you get to the.
Oh yeah, it turns into beachside Billy's, but then you can go to another restaurant that's a little nice. The food isn't quite as good, but the scenery is amazing.
Okay, I got some people that just jumped out. He's in a van because why?
Down by the river.
Down by the river. No, he's actually at a racetrack. He's going to track his Harley tomorrow.
I wish I had my helmet here.
Okay.
Actually, I could probably see. That's not it.
Oh wow, look at that.
There's my bed. Oh wait, is that it? Yeah, that's it. It just blends in.
Yeah, it does.
And then there's my tracksuits. And then my bike is somewhere back there.
Well, see, that's how you got to do it, man. Start small. So I'm sure this van is multi-purpose. I'm sure you use it for other things, maybe a side hustle, business, or some sort.
I mean, not really. It's just my daily, and then
okay.
I have it for like advertisement. I have my photography stuff on the side. That way, people can just see it. Like, oh, I need some aerial photography. Oh, I need real estate.
Yeah, tell me about that because I'm curious because I want to get into that. Like,
oh, that's right.
I fly it around here, and I live close to the base. So, of course, DJI tells me, "Hey, just so you know, you're in military airspace. Click the button; it goes away." But I want to get my pilot's license. Like it looks overwhelming when I watch a lot of videos, but I think they just want to sell me training.
It's not too overwhelming, but it's like I would definitely suggest to study just because it's kind of tricky. So I mean, like,
oh, you get a real card.
Yeah, well, because I submitted to fly my drone here because I am in a Class B airspace, and so I just submitted it, and then I sent an email to the people here at the racetracks. That way, I can be like, hey, can I fly my drone? Is it cool? So I can give it to these guys for video, and then I never heard anything. So it's like tomorrow because my actual time is until tomorrow evening. So that way I can try to find someone today or tomorrow morning. Be like, hey, I need to fly my stuff. Can I do it? I already got my authorization. But like I said, it's fairly easy, but still study for it. Excuse me, because I applied to take my test for like the Tuesday, and I did that on the Friday. So I had like 3 days to study. And then still have my little, is this it? Yeah, my study thing here. I can send you some of the stuff I did for it, but yeah, I passed like an 87, but there was one question where it was like about the roll, the pitch, the yaw, and something. I was like, this was literally never on anything. Like, it was actually some pilot stuff. I was like, ugh. But it's pretty much just like, talks about center of gravity, the weights, humidity, just like general terminology. But then it's also like a load factor chart that you can say, like, if your angle of bank is this much, this is how much load factor is increased. The tricky stuff is like this, I already forgot what these are called, sectional charts, where it's like this Class B airspace is this, but then there's like small little like lines that just outline it. Where if you don't really pay attention, you're like, oh, y'all are sneaky. But yeah, it's cool. That way you're like legitimate. And if for some reason, this is the main reason I got it. See, I'm in a neighborhood, and I'm at 706 Coda Street, and there's a person who lives on 707 Coda Street, the next door, and the 706 is for sale. So I'm out there flying my drone, and it's like a close neighborhood. And then all of a sudden she's like, I'm calling the cops because you're peeping on me, like getting dressed and whatever. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm literally just taking video of this house. And so say she does call the cops, and they're like, they show up like, hey, are you peeping on the homegrown? I'm like, no, sir, I'm a certified 107 pilot. I am doing this for money. I'm like a client, whatever. And then they're like, cool, adios. And that's the only reason, or the main reason I got it was just that way in case something like that happens and you're also legitimate. And if for some reason you are getting money from it, the FAA could come to you and just, because I saw a video on people getting calls like, hey, this is Agent so-and-so with the FAA, just let you know we saw a video. Since your YouTube channel is monetized, you have to take a 107 license. If you fail to do so within so much time, you could be liable to a fine of like, I don't know, $10,000 or something like that. It's like, oh God.
Yeah, I was telling Setzer Pendants that. He's like, well, why are you taking that? I was like, because one day if you do get monetized and somebody comes across it, they could do that. And he was like shocked. I'm like, no, a lot of people got fines for this, like flying it around Yosemite, like travel vlogs, and they've been doing it for years. It's even worse in Canada. Like in Canada, you have to have like an app on your phone that has like real air traffic controllers, and like you have to call in and tell. Yeah, I was watching one guy. It was it Peter McKinnon was having his friend, and he had like the app, and it's like listening to live traffic, and he's like talking back to traffic control about launches. I was like, that's way too intense. Like it's almost not fun anymore.
How would you wear a pilot suit at that point?
Yeah, at that point, I was like, where's the hat and the wings? Because you might as well just start flying airplanes at that point.
Yeah, because right now I just do I just apply on my app. I say, hey, I want to fly here. And then most of the time, if it's general airspace, because I check one to do it, but then I check another one just to make sure that that other app is correct. Sometimes it says that's general airspace, but sometimes it's not. And so I'll do that, and then I'll submit it. Sometimes it says additional authorization is needed, and then I'll apply, and they'll take me to another app, and then I just apply it there. Like the time I'm flying, the height, and sometimes it won't approve it past right for this one, it wouldn't approve anything past 300, and you have to be 107 certified. But I still applied for 400 feet, and then I got it back within a week, and like a text saying, hey, you're approved at 400 feet at this time, between this time, blah, 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 blah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll definitely talk to you after the chat and see what you did to get it. You just went to like your local airport and took it?
Where'd I do it at?
I have to go
like
somewhere
a
in
local
Georgetown.
testing center. Because like you just go to there's a site that says find out who's testing here, and then I just showed it to a testing center, and that was it. There was like 2 other people that were there. I
think my nearest one's like Georgetown. I got to drive all the way to Georgetown.
Okay, well, because there was one I was looking at Georgetown Airport, one of those where it was like an additional $50 fee to take the test. So like and then I did the testing center where it was just the cost of the test. I said, okay, cool, I'll do that because I don't want to spend like $120 versus $60. I was like, cool.
Yeah, I think you just need a 70 to pass. So
yeah.
I mean, we all passed our MSF, so it can't be too bad.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So yeah, one of my subscribers is asking, I wonder if you could fly around New York City. I don't know, even if you had your 107.
You probably could, but you would have to, because with the thing with like the FAA certification stuff or like the approvals is they say it can take up to 90 days for them to approve it. And so I was like expecting that for here, but then they approved it within a week. And I was really surprised. But in a busier area, the first 1 or 2 I think may take a while, and then after that, I think if you just kind of continue to submit your request, they'll be like, hey, it's this pilot again, because I think it goes by your number, and it may just auto approve depending on like your parameters if it's similar to other times and you haven't had any issues. But as long as it depends on what area. But I think you still could fly in New York. You just have to get approval well in advance.
Cool. So I have to ask, I just started getting into photography, and I happened to see your camera set up. So what are you currently using?
It looks a lot beefier than what it actually is. That this is just a Canon 80D.
Okay.
and I just added this bottom cat, like the battery mount, so that way it looks like a 1DX or like a 5D, and people just assume it's high speed, but it's just 80D with a. This is my go-to lens is 55-250 telephoto, but it's just because I used to do a lot of freelance like videos for dealerships for like bike nights, and I would charge like 300, like 400, and it was good money, but I definitely could have been charging more. I just didn't want to be like, hey, I do this like $800 project, and then I show up with my iPhone, just like, hey guys. And so I got the Canon 80D because for the body and all the lenses I got, I think I got like 3 or 4. It was like $2,800 versus if I were to get like a Sony A7R III or one of the new Canon R5s. Those are sick. It's like $3,000 for just the body alone. So I said it's more of an investment to go with the lens and the body, like the lower end kind of, and get more out of my money.
Yeah, I got a cheap wife, so I'm rocking the Nikon D600, but I also have the battery grip underneath of it too, so it looks like the big boy camera.
Yeah,
but I can still shoot in 1080, so at least it still works.
exactly. Because a lot of people get hung up on I need 4K. Now there's I think 8K.
6K, 8K. How many Ks are we gonna have? I can't tell the difference anymore after 1080. My eyes are not that great anymore.
Exactly, and then plus it's going to be compressed anyway, unless you like export it to like your 4K footage to go to 1080, so you still have that 4K quality just in a smaller compression rate. But it's like most people view in 1080, and at the same time, depending on what you're doing, like for motovlogs, it doesn't need to be in 4K unless you want to be that guy who's like, like where you're known for that like super high quality stuff, but then it's also you're paying a whole lot of money. It's like,
yeah, that's like this. I think I got this thing used for like $300, and it only had like 35,000 clicks on it. And I'm like, that's like not even hardly used. Like this thing was like mint. And the worst part was the guy forgot to put the batteries in the box. He's like, oh man, I forgot. And I was like, so he gave me like $43 because it came like 43 something with tax. He's like, gave me a refund. So I ended up making $10 because I bought them on Amazon. But yeah, I'm loving it so far. I just don't see the need to go out and buy like the new cameras because you can still get by with some of the old stuff.
Yeah, it depends on what you're trying to get from it. One of the reasons I want to go with the newer ones, like the mirrorless, is one, it's smaller, so it's lighter. And then you can, if you get a gimbal, it's a lot easier to kind of put them all together without having to like put it on your gimbal and then kind of balance it a little bit more because it's less weight. But it's also got to do a lot with the ISOs. On this one, let's see what my ISO goes up to. My ISO goes up to 16,000. That's the highest it goes. And I forget what ISO stands for. Image something. But on the new Canon R5, I think it goes to like 64,000 or like, I don't know, maybe like 120,000, where it's insane. So you can pretty much shoot at the nighttime and then bump up your ISO, which can make it super grainy, but then you can still keep that faster shutter speed. Where at night, like if I were to start shooting right now, have my ISO really high, I would still probably have like 1/160th of a shutter speed. So I just have to kind of be still, and that's like probably even not correct. I might just have to be like 1/25th.
Cool. Yeah, see, it just amazes me. Like we come so far. Like we went from crop sensors to full sensors to mirrorless to I don't know what's going to come out next, but it's like can't keep up. And then like I've always had Nikons, but I know like videographers they all use Canons. So it's like everybody uses a Canon. Maybe some people use a Sony, but then they switch and they go get the Canon. It's like hard to choose.
Yeah, it is tough because I like for video. If I had all the funds, I would do the Sony, like the A7R III, just because the color profile is just so crisp, and then like just the performance you get from them are so nice. But for photography and general videography, I like Canon. I've never used a Nikon, so I can't really speak for them. But it would be interesting to at one point have like, or even then, what's the other one? There's another one out there. Is it Panasonic?
Yeah.
I don't know. What's that Lee? Lee Parkinson?
Lumix?
No, he's like a dirt bike dude, but now he does screen printing. Anyway, he uses Sony, but he also, I think it was the Pentax, where it's just that's pretty cool. But he ended up switching to Canon anyway after that. But I like those cameras too. Those are pretty cool. Whatever their name is, it's gonna come to me as soon as I get off. I know.
I'm confused. You don't use 35 millimeter. No. Well, I guess we could.
Yeah, technically it's a digital 35 millimeter.
Yeah, it is. If it's the full frame.
But what's also really cool is that if you have a true like a film 35 millimeter, and you can still use it on digital. That say this is a 35 millimeter lens, you would just have to get an adapter that's appropriate for that, like your film lens, and then you can just screw it on, and then you'd be able to use it, and you get some really cool effects using a film lens on a digital body.
Yeah, like I had what was it? I think it was my last live stream or the one before that. I had Rev Sanity on, and I was like, dude, what are you using to do this? He's like, I'm gonna tell you right now. He's like, I'm using my iPhone, some Moment lenses, and a DJI gimbal. I'm like, really? And he's like, a drone. That's it. I think that's kind of impressive, like how you can do that.
Yeah.
But I get your point when showing up at like dealerships and you whoop out your iPhone. It's like, this guy doesn't look that official.
Yeah, but you can still do so much. Like when people would be like, "Hey, what kind of rig are you using?" Whatever. After they saw the video, I'd be like, "Oh, it's just my iPhone." Be like, what? Like, yeah, you just add a little color grade. You do some slow mo in between here and there, and a lot of it has to do with like your main roll, like your A roll. Like if you're filming motorcycles, just do some B roll of the sky or people passing, and then fill that in. Like, oh, it's so much next level, and so it does a huge difference on how you compose and kind of edit it. But it also comes down to when you're filming it, plan ahead for that.
Yeah, there's definitely like for my next video, I'm gonna try and like really think it through from start to finish.
Yeah.
Like usually I'm in the garage, but maybe lead up to the garage. Maybe crack like an energy drink or something. Make it unique and different because everybody's just like they start out getting gas or they're on the bike. It's like lead up to it or something.
Yeah, I'm like the opposite. I need to work on not talking. Like a lot of times, whenever no one comments on my channel, after a while I get like a couple comments of people just saying like, "Bro, you talk too much," or like, "Why did it take 40 minutes to get into the video?" Even though they're not really 40 minutes, but it's always funny because it's like, damn it. And then I'll go back and watch it, and if only people knew how much I cut out already. It's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then like half the time for me, like my stupid GoPro adapter, I gotta like wiggle it every time or the audio doesn't work, and I get back to the house and I'm like, shit, now I gotta do a voiceover. Like, because it's all gone.
Have you ever just thought about just recording external audio?
I have so I was like, I could record through my Senna to my phone, and then I could use my trash cam and just like wire that up and just keep it in like my jacket pocket and run just like have 3 ways of audio that way. Like one of them's got to be good.
Well, it's funny because I saw this this video on because I started doing a lot of video for these track day stuff, and I'm trying to find the perfect thing for like whenever I do interviews, because with a lot of these sport bikes, you have like these leader bikes that they're so loud, and so someone could be having like a conversation like close with like at first I had like the shotgun mic. You would hear nothing but reverberation and just exhaust. Like, damn it. So then I had a sound boom the other day, tried the same thing, and I was like right above them, still nothing. And so I have like a lapel mic, but it's like I was trying to just keep it like everything outside so I don't have to give them the wires. Just cool. Hey, thanks, appreciate it. I'm out of here. Because the more official it is, people get like real timid for some reason. They're like, I don't know what to say. It's like, literally just tell me what you're on, what you're riding, if this is your first track here or not. But I saw one where they were like, they had one on the person, they had one above them, they had one like on the plants. That way they captured all kinds of audio, and then whichever was the crispiest one, they would just use that.
Yeah, that's a little too much, man. That's a little crazy.
Yeah.
Plus, that's a lot of money in hardware because
that's a lot of syncing too. Like,
yeah, no. That's what I liked about my GoPro remote was like I just click, everything's all on at once, and I didn't have to do the clap and try to like get it just right because it's always a little off, and I would know, but people would know, but it would still bug me every time I watched it. Like, no, it was like a second off.
Yeah.
I have a hero session. That's all I need. Yeah, that's crazy, Road Rash. I know you just got like a hero session and one mic.
I wish you would bring those back. I really like those sessions.
Yeah, I bought one from an old lady that used it for a scuba diving trip, and it just like she never used it. Like she tried it, couldn't figure it out, and I got it for like $100, a session 5.
Damn, that's legit.
And then I bought online. They sell a battery pack that it plugs into. So it's it's like this big now. And I have that on my handlebars facing me, and I have the Hero 8 going this way. So one way or another, I got footage, and I can move that one around, the session around, to get different angles. All I have is one GoPro Hero 7. Yeah, I thought you had like don't you have like a Hero 180 because it was a 360, but it broke Setzer pendants?
I feel like Setzer has like 7 GoPro Hero 7s.
Yeah, you got a bulk deal.
Buy one, get 6 free.
Why does Motobike Mike make me want to buy Visine? I don't know. Dry red eyes. My eyes are not that red. Half Max.
Okay.
That's the new model, Half Max.
Oh, Half Max, I get it.
Yeah. So, I don't know if you've seen his video where he's got the little like Ulanzi mounts, like moves it all over his bike. That's what I have a couple of those too, because when I get to like a gas station, I don't want people like ripping off my stuff. So I'm like popping them all off and shoving everything in my pockets.
Yeah, I can see that. I just kind of just said F it. That depends on what I'm doing, like where I'm at. Sometimes I'll just put my helmet over my GoPro and then just kind of buckle my helmet and then just, but like I'll have line of sight. So if someone tries to jack, I'll be like, what are you doing, man? But oftentimes I'll just take the GoPro out of the case and just stuff it somewhere.
Yeah, it's a little harder for me because the cage I have, it's not easy to get in and out. I didn't really think that one through when I bought it, but I was like, it is what it is. But the front one, it just pops right out. Yeah. But even like GoPros, like the 4K and 5K, like I think that's overkill, especially for like us moto vloggers. I don't think it's really needed.
Yeah, I did. I recently started doing 4K with a lens filter, and I've noticed that there was like a more butteriness to it, but also outside that's probably the only thing.
Okay. Yeah, like I have an ND filter on mine. I think it's like a 0.9, and that's what I use. And then I color grade just a little.
Yeah.
So I'll let out my secret. I use this Sicario LUT that I bought online. So that's how I use all my color grading. So I just use that LUT from that movie to make it all look like we're in Mexico. Because when I'm speeding, I want people to know where I am. So I put that LUT on.
That's always funny when I see that, like the meme that it's like Mexico in real life, it's all colorful, and it's like Mexico in U.S. movies, just yellow as shit, just brr.
It's just bright and like it's dusty.
Yeah, that makes me laugh.
So what time does it start tomorrow, track day?
Tech starts at 6 to 7, and then 7 to something else I can't remember, and then 8 o'clock is the riders meeting. But then the track goes out like at 8:45, 9 o'clock. But I usually get up like at 5, make breakfast, walk around just to wake up. I hate walking around kind of groggy, and then I'll just start taking video of people.
And how many tires do you go through in a track day? Just the one set, or do you rotate?
No, if you have like track tires, like legit track tires, you might do that. But it's also people have like sport bikes, so they go a lot faster. But the Metzler Cruise Techs, I think it did like 5 track days on the last set I had, and they still had tread to go. So, and then this is also the first time I'm running sport bike tires on my first track day, so we'll see how those do.
Okay.
But I think they should do well.
I think I have a local like small motorcycle dealer, Motocycle, but it's spelled like psycho. Yeah. I think he's down there right now doing track days too. I don't remember what he's running though. Oh, but he goes down every weekend when it's there.
That's legit.
So he's always there. And then I think it's sometime in September at the end of the month, there's a drag strip over in Little River.
Oh, yeah.
And they're doing the drag racing on the bikes.
Yeah, I hear about that one pretty frequently.
It's expensive. It's like $50 for the weekend, but to me that's expensive right now. But I don't know how much it is to actually run your bike. I would do it just to try it.
Yeah, because I think there's one in San Antonio where I think it's like $20 for the evening.
That's not horrible, but I think for here it's like smaller track, not a lot of action, got to upcharge.
Yeah, like for Ride Smart, if you do most of the other tracks about 170, the Coda one's expensive at $499 per day, but they also have to rent at like $55,000 for the day, so it's like they got to charge to make sure they make that quota, whatever.
So how much is it so if I was to show up for track days, how much is it for me to show up and just like start this whole process? Like entry level.
The what?
Like
So you get frozen and like
the entry fee, how much is it for like somebody new to show up at a track day?
at first I always tell people do all the other ones because you can do I think like 3 track days for the most part for the cost of Coda day because Coda is $4.99 per
Okay.
day. And then like Crescent, you have that which is up by just southwest of Fort Worth. You have Houston; those are 170. So with here, you can your first track day, you get free leather rentals, you get free boot rentals. You just provide your helmet and then your gauntlet style gloves. So that might be like $100 for the gloves, and then if you don't have a helmet, it's like $200. And so it's about let's say $350. But then the gas to get somewhere, so say $400. So it's almost the same to do Coda if you're in Austin to go travel somewhere else, but it's just cheaper, I think, because if you sleep in your van or in your car or truck, you save the $100 that you would spend on a hotel, so you're good on that. And then I always just bring sandwich meats or like even just a lot of snacks. Like I have a whole lot of granola that is just a whole lot of carbs and energy for the day. I have a lot of fruit that I make right before I pack up and leave. So I pretty much just pay for gas and then the time to come out here.
That's not horrible. And like you
Yeah.
said, you're sleeping in your van. A lot of people don't know that just joined. He's at the track. He's sleeping in his van. His bike's outside. He's got an eye on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's how you roll in the beginning. I know a guy that he used to tow his motorcycle on a BMW 3 Series.
Oh,
Like he used to
shit.
buy and sell bikes. He'll be a guest, I think, in the next week or the coming week. My friend, yeah, that's how he started. He sold one bike at a time off the back of his BMW 3 Series, and now he owns 2 dealerships, working on 3 now in Florida.
That's
And
legit.
he just
Yeah.
got the Indian KTM dealership, so he'll be next week on my live stream. He's working on 3rd. He's got logistics. It's just crazy. Like you gotta start at the bottom, and it's like just
Uh-huh.
like you're doing, man. You're in your van. One day you could have like a double stacker with full of bikes.
That'd be
Don't know.
legit.
Yeah.
That'd be dope.
9 mils on 2 wheels says Connor is my bud. Hunter Honda there. He tends to run that track.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw Hunter Honda.
I know the name. I've never actually met him or seen him anywhere else. But yeah, I think people say he's in Austin.
Yeah, I think he is.
It was like also who's the other guy?
Not Yami Noob.
No, well him too. I've seen him around here. Motonosity. I've yet to see him. I've
Okay.
seen Yami Noob at Coco's a lot, but he always like stands around like trying not to be noticed, but in a way that people notice him. And I just see him just like I always give him the head nod just because that's who I do to everybody. And but he's always kind of like I don't know. Everyone says he's a good guy if you get to know him, talk to him about like I don't know.
I met him at the Get On Moto Fest. He seemed all right.
Yeah, I used to like his initial videos because he was so well versed. I really like the information he was giving out, and then now it's just all nothing but memes. So I just kind of like, man, I don't need to.
Yeah, it's all like stock footage and memes, like you said, and
Yeah,
it's
he
like just voiceovers.
just pulls everything from everyone else, and then just makes videos,
Yeah, now I think now he's selling parts.
which is cool. Like,
Yeah,
congrats to him for the hustle. Which I was like, oh snap, dude. When I heard that, I was like, what?
yeah.
That's wild.
He was hiring for like a parts marketer, like somebody to follow up on orders and stuff. Like I think it was like a couple weeks ago. It just flew through Instagram. And he's like, gotta be in Austin, gotta be within 45 minutes.
Which is weird because I mean I get it, but because like it's a remote position, but you have to be 45 minutes. Like,
Yeah, I like we're not physically touching anything. It's like almost like drop ship. It's not like you're having all these parts shipped to your like little studio.
yeah.
It's the same thing with like Moto Mummy that like half their stores online. There's a
Mm-hmm.
warehouse up in Dallas.
Yeah, like ever since COVID hit, they said we can literally make all our money just doing online. We don't need
Yeah.
to be open. It's like, damn, I like going in the store. I was like going having person to person interaction.
Yeah, it's like when I go to was it Centex Harley?
Yeah,
I go in there all the time. Even though there's Horny Toad right down the street, I prefer the other dealership, but
yeah,
just because their customer service is a little better and they got a bigger selection, 9 times out of 10 they actually have the parts in stock.
yeah, and they have like a little more aftermarket stuff there.
Yeah, they do, and like some dealerships don't.
Yeah. Some of them like are nothing but Harley. Like, only Harley, bro.
That would be my dealership. They don't really do that. Like I got all Screaming Eagle parts because they're my closest dealer, and I just don't want to have to deal with the hassle of like, oh, you used a different tuner, or this is not Harley, and they're gonna blame a bolt brake. I just didn't want to deal with it, so everything's Screaming Eagle. I still got to throw it all on.
Hell yeah.
But if that's what I got to do to play the game to keep my warranty for 4 years, I'll do it. And once that 4 years is over, Trash Performance Turbo Kit.
That'd be legit, dude. Do 2 turbos. Dual turbo.
Dude, throw a JZ in there, 2 JZ from a Supra. Will this be good?
6-second car, dude.
5 if we can put about 15 to 20 in overnight parts from Japan. All right, so let's see. Hey guys, we're gonna probably wrap this up for 10 minutes because it's getting dark and I know you got a lot of work to do. So let's see if anybody has any quick questions. Now's your time, guys. I know there's a delay. Check the tube. So bike night next Friday. Where is that, Matt? Horny Toad? Yeah, Horny Toad. And it seems as it gets darker at Circuits of America, the cell service seems to be going.
Yeah, because everyone's going to sleep. Even the towers are going to sleep.
Ah. All right. Well, it doesn't look like anybody has any questions. So we can go ahead and wrap this up. I appreciate you coming on, man. I know you're at the track and stuff, and I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me, dude.
Yeah, man. And I'll definitely like Instagram you and see you next time you're at like Lime Creek Road ahead of time, and I'll try to come down.
That'd be dope. Hell yeah.
All right, man. Well, take care and ride safe tomorrow.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Talk to you later.
Everybody.